Wow, well, welcome. I'm Reverend Tim Lytle. If I haven't gotten to meet you yet, it's a joy to have all of you here, those of you who are online and those of you who are here in person. We welcome you. And this is our Aloha Sunday, if you couldn't figure that out yet. And Aloha is really about sharing that love and being in that reciprocity of love and kindness and understanding with all people, with all people. This is not just for Hawaii. I believe that the world is longing for what Hawaii has to teach. I believe the world is longing to hear the message of aloha. And I know that one of the kumus that was from here believed that that was one of the main purposes of Hawaii, was to help teach the world aloha. I want to look at May Day as Lay Day. Tomorrow is May Day, 1st of May, and it's Lay Day. So in the late 1920s, it was decided that May Day, May 1st, would be Lay Day. They were thinking that maybe there was some decline in using lei, the flowers that are put together, not just putting together flowers, but putting together the intention and the love to share with someone else. And so at Kapiolani Park tomorrow, there will be a big celebration of Lay Day with concert and lei and royal things happening. So invite you to that. That'll be fun. But I was thinking back when I was a child, and on May Day, we would make these little baskets. We would have these little baskets, and the teacher would tell us to get some flowers, to find some flowers to put in our May baskets. And we'd be making, 5 or 10 May baskets. And I'm like, well, what are these for? I was always very inquisitive. What are these for? And they said, well, they're to give away. I said, give away to who? I'm thinking, who am I going to give them away to? My dad's at work, and I can give one to my mom, but who am I going to give it to? And they said, well, you can just put it on the doorways of houses as you go home today, or you can hang it on the doorknob of houses. Of people I don't even know? Yes. But why am I doing that? Because you are sharing with them the joy and love of May Day. I'm like, wow, how cool that I could learn something in school about love. And so even as a kindergartner, first grader, they were teaching us this. And so I'd come up with 5 or 10 May baskets. And, I thought, is this going to be weird? Now lately we've heard about people who've been shot when they've arrived at the wrong house. That shows how things have gone in our culture. We need to go back to being accepting of love and aloha. So I would go as a little kid by myself, and I would drop these off at people's doorways and hang them on their doorknobs. And I wondered, are they going to enjoy these? I had picked dandelions and things, and I had found, or other flowers that I could find. And I wondered, are they going to enjoy this? Is this going to mean something to them? And now, being an adult, when I receive something from a child like that, when I receive some flowers or some thoughtful thing like that, it just means so much. But what I noticed as a child, not quite having a clue what this was all about, what I noticed was that as I was doing this, I was just feeling so good. I was feeling happy. I was getting in touch with something that I couldn't identify as a child. But I was getting in touch with something. I was filling up with joy. That orneriness that I would have often during school was dissipating. And I was just feeling love and joy, and I didn't even know why. Now, it was related to the fact that I was spreading love wherever I was going without expecting anything in return. I didn't know. I didn't get any thank you notes. I didn't get to see the expression on their face. I didn't, get extra credit at school. The teachers didn't change their mind about me. But just in the doing of this loving action, I was getting in touch with something. And what I believe I was getting in touch with was the presence of what we really are. The presence of love, the presence of God. I was acting on that, and I was experiencing who I really was. I thought, this feels really good. And I wonder if when I grow up, I can do something where I'm doing something for others, not expecting anything back, where I can just live this way. Why do we do it just on one day, I wondered? Well, it doesn't have to be just one day, does it? I want to show the first question, if you have that, Debbie. And this first question is, do you expect something back from your love? Why or why not? Do you expect something back? Now, just so you know, there will be a spirit group this Wednesday at 5 o'clock, one of the 5 spirit groups, and we'll be discussing these questions. So here are the questions and other questions that people bring up. But when you give love, are you expecting something back? Now, there's different kinds of love. In Greek, there are 4 different names for love, and the highest form, if you will, is called agape. Agape love is that divine love, that love where we are giving because we're not expecting anything back and we're seeing the divine, we're seeing God in that other person. And that's one of the primary definitions I have for love. This came to me. I haven't read it anywhere. I'm sure someone else somewhere has said it. But my definition for love is this. Love is the divine recognizing itself in the other and treating the other accordingly. Treating one another as the divine, treating our planet and the environment as the divine, treating ourselves as the divine. That's what I see as being love. Now, Scott Peck, in his book, The Road Less Traveled, defines love as seeking the spiritual growth of another or of ourselves. Seeking the spiritual growth. And that means supporting and helping one another. Loving. Now, this is all spelling out lay, L-E-I. So love is the first letter in that acronym, so you can remember that. But this is all about sharing aloha. The second one, E, is empathy. Empathy, one of the ways to experience empathy is to be able to see things from someone else's perspective. This is a safe place. This is a safe place for you to grow spiritually. This is a safe place for your spiritual journey. So it's okay for you to admit this. How many people here like to be right? Yeah. Now, some of you didn't raise your hand, so I wonder, well, maybe it didn't feel safe. Maybe you're not sure. Is this a trick question? But, I mean, I know I like to be right, and I catch myself at it. And because my need to be right interferes with me understanding the other person's experience and perspective. That's one of the things we learn in the Tuesday night classes on nonviolent, compassionate communication. And any of you can join that class at any time. It's online at 6:15. The link is on our website. We also learn in the quantum living process, another class that we often have here, that what I think may be a story I'm making up. It may not be absolutely true. So I'm not ready for this question yet, Debbie. But here are some questions for you to consider. Is what you think true? Secondly, is it absolutely true? Are you absolutely sure it's true? Now, that's kind of some big beginning criteria for it. I would also invite you to ask these questions. Is what you believe helpful in creating relationship, in creating integrity? Think about this the next time you're at a political rally. Think about this the next time you might be in one of those arguments with a family member, maybe the one you live with. Think about this when someone has a different perspective that triggers you. Do you ever get triggered by other people's opinions and thoughts? Have you ever found yourself asking, how could they be so stupid? How could they? I mean, they have a brain. They have a soul. How could they be so stupid? Have you ever thought that? Anyone else here? Anyone else? Okay. I don't want to feel alone here. Help me out. So, empathy. Let's show that next question, if we could. How does your need to be right keep you from empathy? How does your need to be right and to prove that you're right keep you from having understanding with another person? How does your need to... Now I understand. Don't get me wrong. Like when my grandson was here, there were things he wanted to do at times that could be potentially dangerous. You know, and he would get upset when we would stop him. Now, we do need to still make decisions. We do need to use the power of wisdom, the power of the month. We still need to use that, but we also need to be empathetic. So I wanted to understand for my grandson, you know, where he was coming from. Sometimes I just wanted to be right. And Joanne Adams is going to be teaching a class about... I said Joanne Adams, didn't I? Hi, Joanne. Joanne Lewis is going to be teaching a class on compassionate communication. Compassionate communication with children. I mean, isn't that important in our world? Kids are learning violence. They're learning to be sometimes mean or vicious. Now, there's a lot of good kids in the world. But if you're like me, I believe we need to spread aloha more and more. So, how is your need to be right keeping you from empathy? So the first letter in lay is L, love. The second one is E, all right, empathy. And the third letter is I. That's how you spell lay, like the lei that you wear. And I have chosen to be improvised kindness. Now, why improvised kindness? We can be kind to people or think we're being kind, you know. We'll do something for someone. Sometimes it feels very obligatory, like I have to do this, you know. Yeah, okay. Let me be kind to you. Do you sometimes feel yourself a little exasperated with somebody, but nevertheless, I'm going to be kind? On the other hand, we can improvise creative and fun ways to be kind. I work out at a gym, UFC gym, and it's an intense workout place. I mean, nobody goes there just to hang out or sip coffee. I mean, they are there to pump iron and push sleds and flip tires and sweat, you know. So, or hit body bags. And so there's this young lady that works there. And I've gotten to know some of the people that work there. And normally she has this big, bright smile that just brightens up the whole place. I just love going in there and seeing her smile. I went in one day, and it wasn't that she had a scowl. It's just that she looked much more serious, much more subdued. Now, I thought, okay, I'm here to work out, but what is a creative way I can be kind without being intrusive? And sometimes that's a fine line, isn't it? Like, you want to be kind, you want to interact with somebody, but you don't want to get up into their business. But I wanted to find out, you know what. So I said, how are you doing today? She said, well, I'm here. I'm doing all right. Now, I could have just said, well, just know I care about you and hang in there and see you later. I mean, that would have been kind, and sometimes we just do a howdy-doody with somebody. But I thought, you know, I want to improvise. I like improvisation. I want to, what's a creative way that it's kind of like that Mayday basket. This can be fun. Let me see. So I don't want to intrude on what's going on in your life, I said to her. And yet, I want you to know I'm interested. And if you care to share with me, I am open to hearing it. Would you like to share with me what's happening in your life? She was a little stunned at first that anyone would say that to her. This is an intense place. Everyone's getting pumped up. You know, they're not like, tell me about your life. I had no idea what was on this young lady's plate. I had no idea what was happening in her life. And she began to tell me. And she said, I don't tell anybody here this. I don't talk to anybody about this kind of stuff. I think she was surprised she was telling me, but all she needed was someone who was interested. All she needed was someone who cared. All she needed was someone who was open to hearing. The world is longing for people who are just willing to listen, willing to hear. I was so glad that I took the time to do that. And for me, it was improvising. I didn't know how it was all going to go or unfold. And so when I come here, I don't know what all's going on in everyone's life. I know some things, but that is part of us building beloved community, to be able to be there for one another, to love one another, to support one another, and also do that in the world. It can be in surprising ways. My wife has come back. She was in California for some medical stuff. And I'm going to share, if it's okay, and we'll try to get the details right. My wife grew up in a situation that not only included poverty, but abuse. Is that okay to share? I guess so. I just said it. And so at age 14, was it age 14? She needed to leave home. And a little bit later, and seek other places to live. Now, some of you know what that's like, and others of you can't imagine what it would be like at 14 or 15 to find another home. And two of the people who took her in and supported her, loved her, believed in her, no matter what, who loved her unconditionally, didn't expect anything back, who were empathetic, who were improvising with their kindness and finding ways to engage in her life, were her aunt and her uncle. Last Sunday, that uncle passed away. We found out about it on Tuesday morning. And so we were both crying in the living room because I got to go with Ogalucia to Colombia, have time with her family, get to know this aunt and uncle. And that uncle, you know, here I am, a gringo, coming to Colombia. They speak only Spanish. And that uncle, for about 3 years, would send me a message almost every 3 days just to connect with me. That's improvised kindness. That's kindness above and beyond. That's not just feeling sorry for somebody. That's being really engaged with love into the world. That's a love that wasn't really asking for anything back. So when we look at May Day is Lay Day, there's more ways than one to give someone a lay. It can be a lay of kindness. It can be a lay of love. It can be a lay of empathy. That is what our world is crying for. And we are the ones who are here to inspire people to make a positive difference in our world. And we say our world. The world sounds a little bit removed. Our world. Right where we are, right where we live, within our sphere of influence, wherever we can reach, to inspire people to make a positive difference in our world. And when we do that, our lives are transformed. So again, I want to ask this question, if we can show the last question. Yeah, what ways can you improvise your kindness? What are ways that you can bring kindness into the world? And the next question, in what ways is living aloha an expression of wisdom? Wisdom is the power of the month. When I was that little 4-year-old, I was 4 years old when I was in kindergarten. When I was delivering those May baskets, I was tapping into divine wisdom. I was tapping into universal wisdom without knowing it. I didn't know what to call it, but I was tapping into it just by giving without expecting anything back. Just by being present, just by being loving. Tap into that wisdom by sharing your love, your empathy, and improvising in your daily life how to be kind with one another. Happy May Day, happy Lay Day. I invite you in this time of meditation to take a deep breath and just breathe into that divine presence that we are. We know that within us is the presence, is that divine presence, is that connection with all that is, with everyone. And in this presence, we feel that and we know this wisdom of love, of empathy, of improvised kindness to share with the world. Get in touch with that as we go into the silence. As we get in touch with this presence, this wisdom, this love, empathy, and improvised kindness, that we bring that out into the world, not just on May Day, but on every day.